with the diagnosis, there was not a diagnosis. So there was no timeline given. Truly, my parents and I didn't know when I lost a major amount of sight in ninth grade. We didn't know, truly, maybe it could stay this way until I'm 40, 60, 80.
Yeah.
There was no card, there was no timeline to say, all right, 6 more.
Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's not good enough? Like perfect is the only standard, but you're still left feeling behind? Perfectionism keeps us stuck. It robs us of peace, of our joy, and the freedom to just be. That's why I created Beauty of Imperfection, Good is Enough, a guided workbook to help you let go of the pressure, quiet your inner critic, and start celebrating progress over perfection. Inside, you'll find tools that remind you your worth has never depended on being perfect. It's time to embrace the beauty of imperfection, because good really is enough. Let me remind you, you are always worthy. You already are. Get your copy of my workbook today. Emotionally unavailable. Okay, so it's so nice to meet you. I'm going to refresh your memory by saying at the time that I post this episode, I will record a separate intro where I read your bio and
Okay.
really feature you for a second. But for this, we kind of just jump right into the conversation.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so sorry for the stress that my stupid link caused you.
Oh, it's totally fine. Thank you for being patient and waiting. I was like, don't leave.
No, absolutely. I always give people at least 15 minutes.
Okay, good.
Okay, so here's what I do. Usually before we record, I go back and I reread a profile and I'm like, okay, what comes up as something as that I want to start with?
Right.
And about 1 out of 6 times this happens to where I'm like, oh, I have too many questions. So it makes me feel nervous because I don't feel super solid at a starting point, and that's not very normal for me because I'm like, holy hell, there's so much to talk about. So I guess for the audience, we will let them know that you got diagnosed with an eye disease at 9. Is that correct?
Yes. Right.
Yeah. And so then over the next 9 years, you kind of slowly lost your sight.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I wonder, how old are you?
So now I'm 41.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was
Okay.
about 30 years ago.
So what I am just curious what kind of supports they had in the medical community or otherwise in place for children who are experiencing such a loss.
So I experienced the major amount of vision loss was in the high school year. So the ninth grade through 12th grade through graduation. And so
Wow.
I had accommodations like double time on tests. My textbooks were in PDF. That was not an issue. The actual physical part, that was not an issue at all because they had itinerant teachers within the district that went from school to school that had students who were blind to accommodate. So that was not the issue. The issue was the emotional part.
Yeah.
That was hands down the hardest, difficult part of the process.
And was it scary with each phase of the vision loss? Was it scary?
Beyond words.
Yeah.
I can't even put into words how scary it was because with the diagnosis, there was not a diagnosis. So there was no timeline given.
Oh.
So truly, my parents and I didn't know when I lost a major amount of sight in ninth grade. We didn't know, okay, truly, maybe it could stay this way until I'm 40, 60, 80.
Yeah.
There was no card, there was no timeline to say, all right, 6 more months. Because a lot of people ask me, oh, did you rush to see a lot of things and do a lot of things? And my answer is no, because there was no timeline.
Yeah, well, that
So
and I
yeah,
could understand, oh gosh, see that again, it makes me have so many thoughts at once. Okay, I'm gonna land on this one. So, if I am putting myself in that situation, I imagine, and if this isn't correct, just correct me, but I imagine that the amount of hope that you would have forced yourself to hang on to in that fear, that
yes,
the level of betrayal you felt by your own body and maybe even medical
yes,
community every time it got worse.
100%.
So over and over.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%, because you said exactly right. My hope was, "Oh, I can deal with this. Oh, if it stays here and
Mhm.
just my depth perception's pretty bad, okay, I can deal with that." You're exactly right. So at each part, I was hanging on to, I hope this is gonna be it for a long, long time.
Yeah. And
You said it perfectly.
so then I wonder how that, because like I have huge betrayal wounds. Obviously they were created differently, but I do wonder how that level of betrayal by your own body, and maybe even feeling that way about your doctors because they didn't, know how to help you.
Yeah.
How did that it, have you considered how that impacted your relationships too?
You mean relationship directly to them or just
No, just
relationships
with
in general?
people in general, because I find that when we have huge betrayal wounds, we become,
Yes.
people who kinda protect ourselves from others.
Yes, that's the word I was getting ready to use. Protect. The immediate word that came to my mind is be independent. Well, that's not a word, but the phrase
Yes,
just
yeah,
the word would be independent.
yeah, and were
Just I've
you
got to figure this out on my own.
Yes, and, okay, so then that also tells me that, you carried the same narrative that I did, and that so often any of us who have experienced any sort of trauma, kind of carry, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders and no one to help me carry it.
100%. That's exactly how I felt, and that was my experience all through high school because I resisted the help. Right?
Yes.
I resisted the
Yes.
support because I was like, no, you let me down before. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Why should I trust you? It didn't feel like a gift then. I can say now the gift was I did have support from my parents, from just people around me who were modeling, we believe in you. I wanna make it very clear, I totally resisted that support. Like,
Yes.
I didn't receive it as support at that time. I was like, "Well, you're being mean because 'cause you're not crying with me," right?
Yes, girl,
I
yes. Yes.
like, "You are not, like, allowing me to be victim, and so you're being mean," right?
No,
Like,
I resonate with that so hard because this is what we do. This is what we do, and it doesn't matter what, like, your personal experience was. I mean,
uh,
yes, your experience matters, but like our experiences are very, very different, and yet I did the exact same thing because I lost my dad in high school, and it wasn't until I was on someone else's podcast that I then saw processed right there in real time that was when I began to push people away because they weren't
push people
supporting
away.
me in the most
Mhm.
perfect way, whatever
Perfect.
whatever whatever it was that I felt like they should be doing, which the truth is there's nothing right that they could have done because I was determined to push them away, but I didn't see that.
Oh my god, you literally are in my head. Like, you just summed up my high school experience. I was pushing
Yes.
people away because they weren't saying, "Oh my god, this is absolute hell," like, "How are we
Yes.
gonna move forward?" They weren't saying that. They were just like, "Move on, keep charging," I was like, "Wait, that's not
Right.
good enough." Right?
Yeah,
Like, that's not what I need in the moment.
but were you saying that either? Because on the outside, I was presenting like, "Nope, I'm fine." Like, I got this, da 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 da. So I don't know why I was expecting such level of sympathy when I made it impossible for them to even talk to me about it.
Alright, I'm smiling so big because true story, when I now 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when I connect with people, either teachers, friends parents that knew me in high school, they were like, "Laura, we had no idea you were suffering. You were the most
Uh-huh.
positive, upbeat,
Uh-huh.
like, you supported all of us. You never seemed anxious. You always seemed confident. You were always smiling." And I'm like, "Wow, I did a good acting job."
Yeah, you were like, "Oh, well, great. That was the goal."
Right. So
I
you
I
said it
kinda
perfectly.
think in real time, I'm learning this. I think maybe you and I and everyone else who's done these things, I think maybe why we were so pissed at the support that was being offered versus what our little hearts desired is because if somebody else offered us that, then it would have given us permission or validate what we were actually feeling, and we were too afraid. We didn't know how to process those emotions or to show up in a real way and say, "I'm really scared of this, and I'm really devastated that this is happening."
1000%. And what I have recognized in myself, and tell me if this has been your experience, I was afraid if I went there, those feelings of fear and those feelings of being afraid and being scared would absolutely shut me down,
Yeah,
and
that
I
you'd
would
never
never
recover.
recover.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I
I
remember
didn't
that being a real fear.
realize Yeah, I didn't realize there was a space of acknowledging feeling the feeling, and then move forward. I didn't realize you could do both. I thought it was one or the other,
Right? I remember saying,
right?
like, "No, because if I ever actually give into this, like, I'm not coming back from that."
Right, that
Ye
was literally my mindset. If I
Uh-huh.
yes, I mean, that
Yeah.
literally that was my mindset. Yeah.
But I mean, to our credit, this information was not available to us that, like this was our journey and definitely part of our individual human experiences. But, I did talk to someone one day though, and she's like, "Well, baby, I mean, they were teaching this stuff in the East." And I'm like, "Well, that's not fair because I didn't hear anything about emotional stuff until like, 2 years ago. So rude."
Literally. 100%. And to put it in context, I grew up in the Southeast in South Carolina. So let's put that
Oh.
into context. That's the
Mhm.
added layer, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm in Oklahoma, so I feel like it's very
You
similar.
get it. Absolutely.
Yes.
You get it. Even more
And I
so,
have
there's
so
that
much family
layer.
from South Carolina. But yeah, there is this women specifically in these areas, in the more like rural or whatever you wanna call them. I feel like there's this badge of honor that we take on in childhood where we we believe that it is our role to put on that front and to take care of others. We are taught to serve to our own demise very
Yes.
explicitly and implicitly from a very young age. And so you take that into account, and that's a whole cultural subset of the byproduct of what we were going through.
Yes. Yes. I could not agree more. It was like the layers, right? Even
Yes.
if we hadn't experienced the trauma, we were still just through society being taught everything you just said.
Yeah, well, and then also, because 'cause I'm 45, so we're around the same age,
The
and
exact same
also
timeline.
some part of this is the only stories that we would have seen ever to have any sort of representation over you becoming blind, me, having this traumatic childhood and whatever, were the stories of the people who were walking around with a smile on their face. They just
Right.
talked about, you just dig deep. No one ever said, I went through a complete breakdown. Or they'd be like, "I was a drug addict and now I'm not. Look at me." But that was it. Like they said, I numbed and I escaped and now I'm not numbing or escaping. But the truth is they still were because they still had that mask on even when they were sharing these stories. But that was kind of the only face to this level of
One
pain. Don't you agree?
Oh my gosh, I could not agree, and that makes me think of a real life situation I would love to share, and again, tell me if you can relate. I remember one day after school, so it was probably about, 4, 4:15, 4:30. I got a bag of Oreos, went upstairs. I was sitting on the floor by my parents' bed, not even in the bed, just on the floor, turned the TV on, and Oprah was interviewing a lady. I still vividly remember
Mhm.
she had on like a dark red sweater. And I don't remember the trauma. I don't remember if it was cancer, death. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just remember her sitting there smiling and saying, "Yes, it was terrible. and I'm happy now and all joyful and great.
It was Oprah's damn interviews that did this because all of those people were emotionally unavailable and just like they were doing all the stuff that I was doing and I have a feeling
I
you were doing, which is
and I was
like,
doing and so it caused me to bawl and eat more Oreos.
yes.
Like, literally, and I vividly remember that experience.
Because you were like, "Oh, that's what strong is just saying it sucked, but
Right.
life is so good now."
That's exactly what I thought courage was. That's how I
Yes.
define courage.
Yes, absolutely, and doing all the right things for all the wrong reasons, like
Yeah,
doing things out of
100%.
spite.
Oh, thou and I was so deeply angry in my head and so deeply depressed and anxious in in my body, but
Yes.
not in my words.
Yes. So were you Was did you start to, if it didn't happen before then, can you recognize, like, the separation from your body, like, where you just became? Because I feel like the further like, the less we trust ourselves, the less we love ourselves, the more we're like this balloon that's, like, floating and then attached by a string to our bodies because we just live in our heads. Like, can you pinpoint that kinda happening?
Not in the moment, but once I started to do holistic mind, body, spirit work, then it was like, "Oh, wow. I'm not connected to this thing at all."
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize it in real time as it was happening, but I 100% realized it as I did energy work, Reiki, focused
Mhm.
on just, like, even just acupuncture,
Yes.
just and eating well, and again, what I mean by eating well is cutting out processed sugar, just, a lot of processed foods. As I focused on mindfulness, that's when I realized, wow, I am so disconnected to this
Yes.
thing I'm walking around in.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the thing is that I mean, I think we all that's kinda the journey is coming back home to ourselves and being in
Yeah,
our bodies, but I it's so interesting to me how each of us kinda chipped away at our ability to do that, like, year by year, and then the process of coming home is just wild, but, like,
it's
our
wild.
experiences are so different, but our hearts are not, you know what I mean? Like, the
It's
things
the
that we're
reaction, and this is
experiencing.
what I found with in so many different people I've talked to, are oh, what caused the trauma can be so different, but just as you and I are saying, the reaction is so unbelievably similar.
Yes.
Like, what you and I have shared is basically we could be the same person, but yet it's
Exactly.
deeply different traumas.
Yes, absolutely. So what was the beginning of you like where was the turning point? What happened for you to be able to start the journey of coming home?
The very beginning journey point for me of letting down the guard of resistance, and I say starting to let down,
Girl,
not like
yes, I get
fully.
it.
There wasn't like one day where I woke up and said, "Okay, resistance, anxiety, depression, grief, you're all gone now."
Mhm.
For me, it was receiving my first guide dog.
Oh.
So, in between high school and college, I got my first guide dog, and when you get your first guide dog, any guide dog, you go to
Yeah.
guide dog school for a month, and it was the day that I was going to receive her. I just remember sitting on my bed, I'm 3,000 miles away in San Francisco, California, waiting to receive this 55-pound black lab that's now
Oh, I
going to
knew
be
it
my
was gonna be a
eye.
lab. Yes.
And I'm thinking, my first thought is, "What the heck have I done?" Right? But my second thought is, okay, now it's up to me. Like, am I going to choose to start the process of exactly what you're saying of coming home, of rebuilding that confidence, rebuilding that self compassion, rebuilding that love, that self love? So, getting her was the turning point. And again, I want to make it very clear it was not the turning point of life was all roses, smooth, perfect,
Right.
emotional pain was gone. It was the turning point of starting that literal lifelong process.
Yeah. Well, did you have to learn to trust her?
100%.
Yeah, I bet that really was
fucking messy. Because, like, you wanna
Very messy.
animals are so
So
loving,
you
you love
again,
them,
you're
and you're having
saying
to
it
trust them,
perfectly.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
so messy because I mean, this is where the mental kind of battle comes in. My instinct was, yes, you can absolutely trust her. That wall that I put up wanted to resist. I mean, it's like I could
yes,
feel my body
yes.
tensing. It was like, oh, but don't trust her.
That's what I
My
was
gut was saying,
picturing.
trust her.
Mhm. God, having to constantly fight your just, like, natural reactions and then be like, "Nope, that's what this dog does. They know what
Yep.
they're doing." God, what a
Mhm.
beautiful, like, analogy, though. Like, just what you worked through to get, like, the services you needed that for this dog to do. You had to learn to love the dog, but you had to love
Mm,
yourself before you
right.
could.
And honestly, I mean, I give her so much credit to my just overall healing
Yes.
because again, you're saying so perfectly. I had to love to learn her love. Well, I'm saying it backwards. I had to love. I'm still not saying it right. I had to learn to love her and trust her. So it was like, as I did that to her, I just kind of gave that to myself. It
Yes.
wasn't like a conscious decision, "Okay, Laura, now I choose to love myself." But
Yes.
it just organically happened, and also too, is I received her unconditional love.
Mhm.
It was easier not to put up a wall from her love than human love.
Oh, I believe that because as I've gotten, like, more soft girl and just more woo woo, like, cause like, I don't, it's kind of rare for me to cry during these interviews, but I'm crying a little bit just thinking about your damn dog. Cause I just love animals so much now because they touch the most tender parts of us.
Tender parts, and it's like they just know. They absolutely know, and I literally just thought of this experience that I have to share because it totally started to tear down the wall of resistance. When the trainer walked in the room with her, I immediately just, like, sat down on the floor to play with her. They were like they had given us some toys and things to have. So I immediately was like, "Oh, here's an Alabama, here's a squeaky toy," and I could not make this up. She walked, and this was our first interaction. She walked up to me as I'm sitting on the floor by the bed, and just really quick, she just did a quick lick across my eyes, and
Oh,
then she walked away and grabbed the Nylabone.
wow.
And that's not in training. They would not tell her to do that. There was not a special command. Like,
Yeah, she just knew.
she just knew, and it was like, once I experienced that, I was like, "Okay, I can start to let down the wall."
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so much of us dropping those masks is about understanding, like, we can't do this all by ourselves, nor should we
Alone,
any
100%.
longer desire to do that.
Right.
And
Right.
strong doesn't mean alone,
Right.
lonely, isolated.
Independent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we really created a prison in our own mind, believing so hardcore that that was the way and that that was courage.
And that was courage, and that was resiliency, and that was strength,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes, how many times were you called resilient and strong? Like, it got to where I was resentful of those words,
Oh my
honestly.
gosh, to this day, oh my gosh, now as a 41-year-old, my parents, my brother, my fiance, like my close friends, anybody close in my world knows not to use the word amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Because they know, and true story, this has actually happened before. Like, they will know if they use the word amazing, they will get the eye roll, they will get the look,
Uh-huh.
they might get the kick. If we're at a restaurant, they'll get the kick under the table.
I love that. Yes, that's
It's
how I
like,
feel about strong because I remember
yes,
in the darkest moment, I was like, "Okay, that's great." But it literally felt like I was drowning and no one was throwing me a life raft. They were just like, "You're doing great, sweetie. You just
oh my
trust
gosh,
your
literally,
for
that's
it."
yes. Yeah, I always thought, "You're doing great, you're so amazing." I didn't get strong, I got amazing, and I'm like, "Oh my god, if you use that word one more time, because
Yes.
there's nothing amazing in this mind."
And I think so much of that was just like, for lack of a better phrase, imposter syndrome. Well, it was our shame because we
It
didn't know
was.
how to unpack
Mhm.
what we were feeling, the fact that we were allowed to feel it, and feeling like if you really knew me, you wouldn't say any of that.
100%. You would not, if you were in my bedroom at night when I'm crying myself to sleep,
How's
you wouldn't
that
say
for
amazing.
amazing? Yeah, but that's
Right.
so sad that we really believed that because we had feelings and cried like normal people, that and even had dark thoughts like normal people,
Mhm.
that made us any less awesome, strong, whatever words people want to use. Like, we are magical. We were magical then, we're magical now, and we just didn't see that because we thought that magical people were perfect.
Because I interpreted that as weakness. Crying myself to
Absolutely.
sleep was weakness.
So did I. So did I. And you know what's crazy? How many people I love when I get to talk to other women who say that, because I'm like, hey guys, that wasn't just programming for the boys. Okay.
Right.
We were programmed that too. The difference between how a man and a woman is programmed is that at least the world is aware that women really do have emotions. That's
Right.
actually to our deficit. They're like, oh, women can't run the country because they're too emotional. So
Mhm.
there's an acknowledgement that we have them, but we don't know what to do with them. So strong women, they don't get overly emotional, and they certainly don't
Right.
cry themselves to sleep.
Definitely not, and they don't ask for help.
No, obviously. I mean, Jesus, can you imagine you're literally blind and feel like you're not supposed to ask for help? The hell?
That was literally my experience. That's how I felt. Like, it is wrong, it is weak to ask for
Uh-huh.
help,
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I
and
used
you
to
just
have this
saying that
thing.
out loud sounds absolutely
It does,
ridiculous.
but I feel it. I get that. Like, I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that I would feel that even in blindness, but I know myself well enough to know I would have felt that too. I felt it through all of my stuff. Like, I would
Mhm.
never say to someone else like, "Well, baby, I mean, I good luck, dealing with that on your." But like, that's truly
Right.
what we expected of ourselves. But I think it starts even before the big trauma. It starts in those little
Yeah,
microaggressions. It starts when your
I hear you.
mom just doesn't have the space for you that day. That I mean, like, our
100%.
mom, well-meaning as she may have been, like, those moments where you are very much made to feel like you're too much.
Too
And we
much, and it
learn.
was nobody's fault. It wasn't her fault.
No.
That was her program, like,
Yes.
it's nobody to blame.
Well, and I mean, like, we're not gonna do everything right every time. I mean, that's the
Right.
magic of self-love, is embracing the fact that you are so messy and it's okay to be messy. And in that, when you can give yourself that compassion, you start to lighten up on your parents a little bit too, or your family or whoever, and you go, "Oh, right. Okay, they was imperfect too. Okay, okay." And
100%
it's a beautiful kind of full circle moment when you can do that.
circle.
But the truth
Mhm.
still remains. You didn't get everything a human needs to develop
Right,
emotionally
right,
appropriately, and that's
right.
fine to say, because no one's ever gonna be able to fill that need 100%, and I
Every
think
need.
that's the human
Right.
experience, is learning how to come back home to you and give those things to yourself truly, fully, deeply, and madly.
Ugh, 1000%. And exactly what you said, it lets the pressure off of not only ourselves, but how we think of other people. I
Yes.
mean, I can honestly say I was such a harsh judge on everybody.
Mhm.
But then once I accepted self-love and self-compassion and what you're describing, I didn't judge people. I didn't think about it.
Right. Well, honey, I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't think about it. I mean, not that you're lying, but I would be lying if I were to say that. But I
Yeah,
am
okay, maybe that
very
was a
quick
lie.
to
I do
correct.
think about it, but that's not my first instant reaction.
Yes, like,
Or
I'm
let's
very
say it this
quick.
way, how about this? I let the judgment go quicker.
Yes, much quicker. Like, it's so fast for me because immediately, because we've really worked on rewiring those neural pathways, but it's
Yes.
immediately my subconscious now goes,
Yeah.
and says, no, 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 no. Remember, you do that too. You do this exact same thing all the time.
all the
There's very
time.
few things that I can't understand why somebody else does it. Now, you give me a good case of PMS, I'm gonna take some things personally that I shouldn't, but then I'm gonna change
Right.
it. I'm gonna let myself be in my feels about it, and then I'm gonna fix it because I know better. I know better. We're
Right.
all humans doing our very, very best.
Very best. 100%.
Wow. Okay, so you had the turning point. When you got your dog, it kind of started
Yeah.
changing. Tell me what life started to look like after that.
It started to look like a process of I would experience self-confidence, and then it was like my programming would "No, no, no, you can't be confident."
Mhm.
So it wasn't at all linear. It was a back and forth process of I would gain confidence and feel like I'm developing self-compassion, and then it would, like, be that reminder, "Oh, but you gotta be amazing." So
Yeah.
it certainly wasn't linear or quick. And I mean that very, very deeply about holistic healing. It was also I resisted Reiki and energy work so much. I can't
Uh-huh.
tell you how much. And here's the honest truth. And again, I vividly remember this in a cubicle in a lab in college. I was an internship. Another college student was an internship. She was doing Reiki. She was telling me about Reiki. And I vividly remember saying to her, "That is great. It helps you. I don't need it."
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I
It won't
genuinely
help
felt
me.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think she was some like weird woo woo. It wasn't that I didn't believe in it. I just thought it wouldn't help me.
Well, I thought therapy wouldn't help me, so I get it. Like,
Right.
I was like, "Well, I mean, they don't have credentials that I don't have, like, I know as much as they do, so, like, why is that gonna help me?"
Why is that
Mm.
going to help me? A
Protective
hundred
layer
percent.
after protective layer, but, I mean, also,
Yes.
I think I may have lost my train of thought, shit. Yeah, I did, but, what was it? Because I was like, "Ooh, I know what that feels like."
Talking about resisting therapy or resisting help in general.
Yeah, it's okay, it'll come
That
back to me.
protective,
But
that
yes, that
protective
it is a
layer.
protective layer. I mean, that's all it is to be like it's that damn confirmation bias, that
It
just it's
is.
like, "Huh, honey, you know better.
Yep.
Don't." Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Okay. What it feels like to me that you're describing is the way I started to understand perfectionism is sneaky. Like it
Oh,
really sneaks in.
100%.
And so I would think, oh, yeah, which I guess this is a little embarrassing to say out loud, but I think for a second I thought I mastered perfectionism and,
Oh,
then,
me too.
and then started to realize all these small ways that it was still because that standard that we were holding other people to is the same
Yes.
standard we were holding ourselves to. So,
Yes.
when we judge, it's because that's how harsh we're judging ourselves. And so
Oh,
that's when I started to realize like on this show I have a lot of different types of people, and truly this show is about my journey on this earth and like my evolving. So like if it's an expert, they're going to give me free advice if I you know I'll be like, hey, so listen, I got into this fight with my husband last night, and that happened one time with this relationship coach, and she was so fun and I just felt really connected to her, so I was just like, listen, I had this fight last night, da, 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 da. And by the end of the
that's
conversation,
awesome.
what I realized is what I was actually still upset about was the fact that I got messy in it, that I didn't handle it perfectly, and that I wasn't this little guru that was like, boop, boop, boop,
Mhm.
boop, boop. And now I've done the formula and this fight is over. And there we go, release. That I was still being messy, that I wasn't perfect. I have found so many ways that I'm being such a harsh critic of myself because of the perfectionism, and it is so sneaky.
Again, I'm smiling so big because I could not relate more. I mean, you just summed my life up. Well, I know the steps. So I
Yeah.
do do the
Yes.
steps perfectly every time,
Uh-huh,
right?
exactly, every single time. I really thought, like, you master a concept and it never is an issue again, ever for the rest of
That's
your life. You get to check
that's
that
what I
off your
thought.
box.
Right, and move on. And then life is easy sailing, right? I figured this thing
Yes.
out.
Yes, and then, I giggle now because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, honey, that was just another, like, phase of self-love you had to come to," but dang, I really did think. I was like, "Oh, okay, look at me. I am, like, I'm, like, getting certified in life right now. Like, I'm just checking those I'm
Like,
just
I
checking those
should
boxes.
be the life coach,
Yes,
right?
exactly. I was like, "Dang, dude, I really know what I'm doing here." And then just those little sad
Yes.
moments of like, "I I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, what are we doing?"
That's so true, and it totally I don't know if I'd love to does this happen for you? It takes me back to that protective.
Mhm.
When I have those, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing." Then it like, I don't know, just that programmer or whatever, I jump back into that, well, then I have to protect myself
Yes, yes, absolutely.
rather than just crying over the messiness.
Yes, and I'm learning just very recently, I've started to learn even deeper and better about like just sitting with whatever is coming up and try not to analyze so much because I'm very analytical, and not even in a way where I'm intellectualizing the experience, but I'm trying to feel right, like, in the right way.
Me
You know
too.
what I mean? I'm
Me
like,
too.
"Oh,
Me
okay, well,
too.
this is the way you feel." And so lately, I've just been like, "I'm not even going to use my brain. I'm gonna let this feeling sit, and then I'm gonna move forward and do whatever it was I was doing with this feeling. I'm gonna coexist with this feeling for a little while." But man, it is hard because I really did think there was a right and there was a wrong, and also something I've really learned is it will never probably take very much at all to flip that survival mode switch right back on. You give me a day
Oh,
where I didn't get to eat for the first time until like 1 o'clock. You probably shouldn't be in the near vicinity of me because I'm going to
yeah.
be agitated and you are going to be a threat to my safety and I'm going to be a giant bitch. And that's just how it is.
I could not agree more. It's so it's so easy to flip back, yes, to that
Mhm.
survival switch, and I can feel it in my body. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly how it was in high school."
Yes.
It's just like, for me, it's like I can't taste food, I'm not hungry, I just can't think,
Mhm.
and it's like it doesn't take much to get me there.
No, it doesn't me either, and I think I was carrying some real shame around that too, that even after this much healing and growth and evolution, that
Yes.
it's still so easy to get there, but,
I
just
thought I should be over it.
yeah, yeah, well, we should because 'cause we're strong and resilient and amazing.
Amazing.
Well, like, my son is in psychology and in one of his classes, he learned a new something, like, probably a personality disorder or something. He was like, "Mom, this is you." And I was like, "Oh, totally," because he was talking about how easily I can get, like, emotionally reactive. I love
Yeah,
that he's learning this because any way that my kids can start to see me as more human and understand, like, I'm just living just like you are, it just
right.
helps so much because
It helps
we
their
want them to have
perspective.
peace about the all of the mistakes that I've made.
Yeah,
That it was never about them. They are
right.
special. They are worthy. They are so loved, but I was a very flawed human. I am still a very
Human.
flawed human. And that's the part where I'll really judge myself is if I start to get agitated with them. I'm learning how
Them,
to
yes.
communicate that better. Like with him, even the other day, we were in some random conversation, and all of a sudden I was just like, if we talk about this for one more second, I'm going to lose my mind. And it wasn't, I was enjoying the conversation at first, but then all of a sudden I wasn't because I probably needed to eat or something. And I was like, yo,
Eats.
I'm
Yep.
really agitated right now, and I don't know why, but if we keep talking about this, I'm gonna be mean. And he was like, "Okay, fair." But, I love that we're learning this stuff, like, together because this is what it's
Yes.
all about, is, like, the ripple effect
It's
is you pour into you the most, and then that love that, those higher vibrations, all of the things, that's the people around you feel that too, and then it gives them
feel
permission
that
to
too.
be human too.
100%. And they just when we model it, they learn so much.
Yes, yes.
Then whether we just when we just say it as one thing, but when we model it, it's totally different.
Well, yeah, because let's think about all those guests, because it wasn't just that one guest you saw on Oprah. I mean, that was all of
Right.
Oprah's show. No hate
That
to
was the one I
Oprah.
remember, but she
Yeah.
represented all of the yes.
Yeah, I mean, no hate to Oprah, but even Oprah
Right.
herself was pretty emotionally unavailable. She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I was molested when I was a kid, but I'm fine, and I was real poor, and my
Okay.
daddy was a piece of shit, but I'm fine." All the things.
Yeah.
And then all of her guests kind of represented that as well. And God knows I spent my life dreaming of being on Oprah's show. But
Oh, me too.
oh yeah,
Oh
I was
my
gonna be
gosh, I
on
even
Oprah's show
had,
for
like,
sure.
visualized myself being up there, and
Oh
that's what
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, me too, me too. But all of those guests were part of the reason why we were like, "Huh, well, I have the same motto of like, it's fine, I'm strong, I'm whatever, but why is this not translating? Like my life isn't looking like theirs. They seem really happy right now. So why am I not happy? Versus us
Yep.
going, hey, guess what? You're still going to get sad sometimes. You're still going to be a giant bitch sometimes. You're still going to push people away sometimes. Like that gives people permission to go, oh, okay, so it's normal. I'm okay.
Oh, it's
Really?
normal, right. 'Cause I didn't know that was normal. It's like you said, then that made me think, was all this healing for nothing? Like,
Yeah.
did I really not heal?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
Me too.
oh my
Me too.
gosh.
I love man, what a surprise. It's not really surprising that we've connected on such a level because this is the human experience, but I'm
Experience.
so
But it
happy.
is, again, it is from just all our defensive survival mode of like, oh, we can't really connect. Our trauma's so different, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Uh-huh. Well, and that's why, like, the more you know yourself, the better you know everyone around you because I'm so
100%.
intimately aware of my betrayal and neglect wounds that I could hear yours very easily, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And then what a great connective
100%.
point. So,
Yes.
okay, tell us what you're doing now.
So what I'm doing now is using all of my experience to empower people to do both exactly what you said, to feel the feels as they move forward.
Yeah.
So to not do one or the other or not view healing as a to-do list, like a check off my list. I healed and then I can move forward, but you do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So I specifically work with people in what we were talking about, non-death loss, both speaking to groups, corporations, but then also individual work who are experiencing non-death loss to give them if I had to sum up my whole work in one word, it'd be permission.
Yes.
Give them permission to cry, to be
Yes.
anxious, to
Yeah.
be fearful, to be uncertain, overwhelmed, and to embrace those emotions and then say, okay, in the fear, what do I do about it? What is that one step I can take to move forward?
Mhm. And
And
that
I
no
do
step
that
too small.
yeah, 100%, 100. That's exactly what I work with people on. And the framework that I use is using the balance, the resources of grit and of gratitude to navigate through change. And a
Yeah.
lot of that work is acknowledging our pain, acknowledging our feelings, and then choosing to move forward as we acknowledge.
Yes. Well, because I've learned like healing isn't the end game. Like we're healing so that we can get the most joy and love and authenticity out of this life.
Right. And I thought healing was the end game. And if I'm
Mhm.
being honest, I still think that in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
still think that in that like survival protective mode.
Uh-huh. Well, because that's we get to judge ourselves, which we're really comfortable doing.
Right.
And
Really
push
good, really
people
good at.
away because we're really comfortable with that. Like anytime where
Yes.
we can start to shame ourselves because we're not healed enough, the we're that's our sweet spot. We
Right.
love that. Or at least our nervous system feels really safe there.
Yes.
It loves to
Really
be
safe there.
dysregulated as all hell because that's what it
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
Yes, I love that.
100%.
Where can we find you?
So my website, laurabratton.com, has all the information, the speaking, the coaching book, it's all there.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, I will make sure to include all of your links in my show notes too. And we're only about a week from like record to release because of all the
Great.
freaking no-shows I've had over the last couple months. So, this will be out soon and I'm man, I genuinely love you. Like I'm so happy that we got to meet and
Yes.
I
Oh my gosh, this was such a deep and real connection. And that's what I hope everyone takes away who listens to this was we didn't plan any of this. We didn't, like, have a pre-call and
Right.
and say, "I'm gonna say this, and you say this." Like, we didn't match our experiences up beforehand. This was all real time, genuine. So take from our experience, healing's not the end goal, and it's okay to be messy.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, Laura, I'm gonna stop recording if you'll hang out for 1 sec.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.